All right, hang on a second. What in the actual hell is this? I got an email shortly before we recorded this from our producer saying that we were not allowed to use the Simple Minds song at the beginning of this fucking podcast, but he found us an alternative. What the hell?
Oh,
this
dear.
this is Sample Minds. I can't. Like, what the hell are we supposed to do with this? Well, it beats getting sued, I guess.
It does.
Oh my God. Well, kids, welcome to our Great Adventures podcast alongside of my amazing wife. And did you know, fun fact, she is a YouTube sensation. That is Tanya. I am Doug. And buckle up, buckle up, kids, because we're about to go on a crazy, amazing ride. My amazing wife, Tanya, YouTube superstar sensation. Can you feel it?
I can feel it.
You can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you feel the 80s vibe?
I can.
All right.
Bring
this
on
is
the
good.
Neon.
What's that?
Bring on the neon.
Bring on the neon?
Mm-hmm.
The neon of the 80s.
Yes.
All right. Back into the time machine. You ready to go back?
Mm-hmm.
I sound like the fucking old woman from Titanic. Are you ready to go back? It's been 84 years. Not that far. We go back to 1985.
Oof.
More specifically, February of 1985. Now, I don't know about you. I don't really remember much about 1985. I would have been 11. You would have been 10.
I would have just turned 10.
You'd have just turned 10. And it would have been a little bit more than 4 years before yours and my paths crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to present the essential podcast of the quintessential coming-of-age movie. Try saying that 5 friggin' times fast. You can't do it.
Nope.
The essential, who wrote this? The essential podcast of the quintessential coming-of-age movie, The Lunch Bunch. Wait. Is this... Wait, do we have to deal with Timu in everything we're doing? We can't play the song? No, we can't say the music? No, okay. Well, in an alternate universe, that's what the Breakfast Club was going to be called, was The Lunch Bunch, believe it or not.
It sounds so
It
wrong.
does. It does. Thank God, writer, producer, director, do everything, John Hughes, had the sense to go with The Breakfast Club. Do you recall at all seeing it for the first time you ever saw the movie?
No, I don't. I probably was a teenager.
Yeah. You wouldn't have been allowed to see it at age 10?
No.
No,
Are you kidding? My mom would have had to drive me to the movie theaters, and that was just not something she was going to do.
Same, especially at 11. I was like into baseball cards and putting them in the spokes of my bike.
Yeah, no, I can count on one hand how many movies I saw in the 80s.
You were still playing with the strawberry shortcake doll. Bitch, by the way, the blueberry, the best.
I still have my strawberry shortcake dolls, so don't make fun of it.
That's impressive. I'm not actually. I'm not. And if they still smell like strawberry shortcake, even better.
Mm-hmm.
It was probably like 89, I think. Probably about the year we met before I finally saw it. I can tell you the first time I saw Porky's.
Of course you can.
but I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you the first time I saw The Breakfast Club. No, it was probably like 89. I think it was probably a sophomore in high school.
Oh, I'm sure I would have saw it like freshman, sophomore year or something like that. Maybe 8th grade.
Anything stick out to you from watching it the first time?
Not that I remember.
Same.
No.
I just remember. It's like, I think it hit me more watching it as an adult, bringing back some things that I remember seeing it as a kid. But I just there was nothing that hit me then that was like, oh my god, this is like, how was it written? A quintessential coming of age movie, which it is. It very much is.
Right.
Which we will get into. But in order, ladies and gentlemen, and why we say this is the essential podcast, look, we've done our research. Our research staff, our crack research staff, has done some digging.
They've worked their little asses off.
Oh my God, to the bone.
Yes.
And they have found some gems, let me tell you. So we're going to go down some rabbit holes. There are a lot of these pieces of information that are out there, but I have yet to hear them all included in one neatly boxed up podcast. So here we go. Everything you ever needed to know about The Lunch Bunch or The The Breakfast Club.
Don't call it that. That just, no.
Sounds wrong, doesn't it?
Sounds wrong on every level.
All right, in order to set the table, let's learn about the producer, writer, director, John Hughes. Born February 18th, 1950 in Lansing, Michigan, Hughes, growing up, was a big Detroit Red Wings fan, and more specifically of Gordie Howe. And did you know, Gordie Howe sent John Hughes a number 9 jersey, which was later featured in the 1986 film, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Kind of a little fun fact there, right?
Yeah, the little jersey that Cameron wore.
Yeah, Cameron wore the jersey. It won't be the last time that Ferris Bueller is going to come up in this podcast, by the way. In 1963, Hughes and his family moved to Northbrook, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago, where he would attend Glenbrook North High School. That is where he picked up his inspiration for his films.
Say that word again.
Can't. I'll just keep moving on. Thank you. He would meet Nancy Ludwig, who was a cheerleader at the school, and would become his future wife. So he met his future wife in high school. Yeah, I like this guy already. They would have 2 kids together along the way. And after dropping out of the University of Arizona, he would begin selling jokes to well-established performers such as Rodney Dangerfield and Joan Rivers, which I thought was fascinating, and really kind of setting the tone for his work as a writer-director. He would use his jokes to get an entry-level gig as an advertising copywriter in Chicago in 1970, in which he worked in high-profile accounts such as Ed's Shaving Company and Virginia Slims. Nothing fucking screams comedy and jokes like Virginia Slims. What the hell was their slogan? Something baby, wasn't it? Was it like, I
don't remember.
I could picture the ad from we had the ads in the store. I just can't, like, you've come a long way, baby, something like that. Maybe, I don't know. But nothing punchline like Virginia Slims. But that took him to the Philip Morris headquarters in New York City quite a bit. And that is where he would visit the offices of National Lampoon. I almost said Vacation, but the magazine. So he would frequent the National Lampoon magazine, in which he would become a regular contributor with one of his first stories based on his family trips called Vacation 58, which would later become the basis for
National Lampoon Vacation.
That is correct. We're connecting dots here, people. His early screenplays included National Lampoon's Class Reunion. That is the first time he was credited on a film. Animal House and Vacation, which would become major hits in 1983, along with the success of his script, Mr. Mom, which was released that same year. From that, he compiled that and he compounded that into a 3-film deal with Universal Pictures. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
From a man from Lansing, Michigan. So the stage is set for Hughes. And up until that point, he had just written films. He put on his director hat and in 1984 made his directorial debut with 16 Candles, which is fascinating because he wrote The Breakfast Club and 16 Candles at about the same time. And The Breakfast Club was supposed to be first.
Why wasn't it?
Because they thought it was too simplistic and they liked 16 Candles a little bit better. He wrote that in 3 days. He wrote The Breakfast Club in 2. So you've got a guy who just puts pen to paper and just goes and puts a script together.
Damn.
And so in April 6th, 2008, in an article in the New Yorker, we're going to quote a lot of articles in this podcast.
2018.
2018. What did I say? 1918?
2008.
Oh, 2008. Well, at least I had 2000s and didn't say 1918. That'd have been a hell of a deal if Molly Ringwald was talking in 1918.
Wow.
In 2018, in an article in the New Yorker, Molly Ringwald said The Breakfast Club was to be his directorial debut. He planned to shoot it in Chicago with local actors. He told me later that over the 4th of July weekend, when looking at headshots of actors to consider for the movie, he found mine and decided to write another movie around the character he imagined that girl to be. That script became 16 Candles, a story about a girl whose family forgets her 16th birthday. The studio loved that script, perhaps because, in form at least, it might have more in common with proven successes such as Porky's than it did with The Breakfast Club, which basically read like a play. So you've got Hughes coming out with 2 films at the same time. The studio saying, we're going to go with this one because it feels more like what we're comfortable with. This other thing, 5 human beings in a library for the whole thing, we feel like it's going to get a little stale, a little too on the play side.
The concept seems boring.
Because the concept does seem boring. We're going to get into that too. The Breakfast Club was supposed to be his directorial debut, but the studio wanted 16 Candles first. Ultimately, Hughes got the youth generation, and his movies helped launch the Brat Pack, which we'll talk more about later on. All right, so The Breakfast Club, 13th highest grossing film in 1985, grossed nearly $46 million domestically on a $1 million budget. Opening weekend or opening week, it made just over $5 million. Here we go. Here's where we get out the calculator that calculates how much this is worth in inflation. So in 1985, total box office gross, we're talking all movies, right? So in 1985, all movies, we're going to break things down as no other podcast that I've listened to has done. So we're going to say
It's math and numbers.
Oh, God.
Not a good combo for
Help
us.
me all.
Mm-hmm.
In 1985, total gross box office gross revenue was $3,017,379,323. Adding for inflation, that's like $9,108,223,086 in 2025. That's what it translates to. So, what you need to know is in 1985, times they were a changin'. 1985 saw a 7% decline or decrease, and I don't know why I said decline. Good Lord, help me. In theater audience.
Why?
So funny you ask that. Do you have any theories on it?
No.
No theories on why we would see a 7% decline. I did it again. Good Lord. Emphasis on the wrong syllable. Well, according to a February 1986 UPI article, movie theater attendance among VCR owners has dropped consistently over the past 3 years as they watch 6 times as many video cassettes as theater movies in 1985, the study showed. Variety magazine reported that movie theater attendance declined by 7% in 1985, despite a record-setting period between Christmas and New Year's Day. The study saw the drop in box office receipts was largely attributed to those between the ages of 10 and 19 who have been most influenced by VCRs. That age group is traditionally the most active for movie theaters, but the 10 to 19-year-old demographic tripled their VCR use in 1985 from 1984. So there you have it. So that age group, that 10 to 19, that sweet spot for movies, which is exactly where John Hughes is trying to go, dropped 20% in 1985.
That's a huge chunk.
That age group in itself dropped 20%. By the end of 1985, roughly 35% of American households owned a VCR. 35%. That was up from 25% or 23% from the year before. In a quote from this article, quote, "It appears that cost-conscious kids who are foregoing multiple viewing of the
What are
same..."
you doing?
I'm reading theatrically.
Why?
Because I can.
Okay.
Quote, "It appears that..." I don't know why I have a British accent. This guy, This is Mike Freehill. This is a Market Facts. I imagine Mike sounds like a little stuffy, you know?
Maybe he's Southern.
It appears that cost-conscious kids who are foregoing multiple viewing of the same theater movie are hurting movie theaters, said Mike Freehill of Market Facts. Instead, they are now waiting for their favorite movie to come out on videotapes and renting them instead of going to the theater. Like that?
No comment.
Thanks. All right. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes.
Here we go. Let's talk about the cast.
Okay.
In doing research, our crack staff could not find exact upfront salaries for the main actors, not widely accessible and available. We do know a couple things. If it cost $1 million to do this movie, you know nobody was making a ton of dough.
Right.
But there we'll get to Emilio in a minute. We'll start with Emilio. Emilio Estevez plays Andrew Clark, a wrestler in Saturday detention for taping another student's butt cheeks together. Well, who hasn't been there? There was an article that I found that is unconfirmed that he made $4 million for the film because of the urgency from the studio. Here's where this gets tricky. They also were talking about young guns there too.
Oh.
So I don't know where that, but there is a report that talks about $4 million. But if it was only $1 million to make the movie,
that doesn't compute.
That does not. No, 4 is bigger than 1.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Gleason, who plays Richard Vernon, the domineering vice principal of Shermer High School, who oversees Saturday detention. It is well known that he made $31,000 as principal Vernon, which, if we put it in the calculator, that equates in 2025 of $93,576. So, good old Richard Vernon, vice principal at Shermer High School.
Kind of creepy.
We're gonna talk. You ready? I'm ready to blow. You ready for me to blow your mind?
Okay.
Who is the principal of Shermer High School? For that, we have to go to 1986 in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, because Ferris also goes to Shermer High School.
I'll be damned.
And the principal is a fine man named Rooney.
Yeah, I don't know which one's creepier.
Principal Rooney. Principal Rooney was Principal Vernon's boss. Your head's exploded.
It has. I'm speechless.
Well, okay. Our crack staff leaves no stone unturned.
I see
here
that.
Here at the Wayback Machine. A man near and dear to my heart, Anthony Michael Hall, plays Brian Johnson, an academic in Saturday detention for taking a flare gun to school. That's one thing I never did.
No, that's the one thing that you never did?
I never took a flare gun to school, no.
Huh.
No, there's a lot of things crossed off my bingo card. Bringing a flare gun to school was not one of them.
It's probably not a wise decision.
I would say that's probably not a wise decision. Judd Nelson plays the role of John Bender, a rebel in Saturday detention for setting off a fire alarm. I love Judd's character, and Bender is, he's everything in this movie. Like he's the antagonist, and he's like, yeah.
Did you set off a fire alarm at school?
I don't think I did that either.
Look at you.
Well, did I think about it? Yeah. I don't want my hands dirty on that.
Did you ever talk somebody else into doing it?
I can't. No, statute of limitation has not run out yet.
I can't feel like it has.
Molly Ringwald, changing the channel. She began as a child actress on Different Strokes and The Facts of Life. Her first starring role on the big screen came in 1982 in the drama Tempest. It was there then that she became a teen crush, starring in 16 Candles in 1984, The Breakfast Club in 1985, Pretty in Pink in 86. Her role as Claire Standish, a socialite in Saturday detention for skipping school and going shopping. I ask you, Tanya, did you ever skip school to go shopping?
I never skipped school to go shopping. I did skip school.
Well, did you just stay home? Or did you actually go to school and then skip?
No,
Did you get off the bus, and then say, you know what, I'm just not feeling it today. I'm going to walk around. I'm going to walk around this big metropolis that this high school's in.
No, I didn't do that. I think I would have just stayed home.
Yeah. Kids now are ridiculous. They skip school and they just wander around the halls. I'm like,
why?
That's not skipping school.
Why would
still
you
in the
want to
building.
be there? No.
I don't know. We'll get
You're
into that
skipping
later.
school. That's no.
Ali Sheedy's character might be my favorite in this whole movie. Made her feature debut in 1983's Bad Boys, becoming a member of the Brat Pack with roles in Oxford Blues in 84 before The Breakfast Club, and then St. Elmo's Fire in 1985. She plays Allison Reynolds, a loner who voluntarily goes to Saturday detention. She basically wakes up that morning and says, I ain't got nothing else cooking. I think I'll just go to detention and hang out and see what's flying.
Yeah, stupid not to.
Why not? John Capellos plays Carl Reed, a janitor at Shermer High School. On friendly terms with Brian, he made $16,000, that is confirmed, for this movie. Okay, continuing on. A couple of the just fun nuggets here. Ron Dean plays Mark Clark, Andrew's father. Mercedes Hall plays Mrs. Johnson, Brian's mother. And did you know she is actually Anthony Michael Hall's real mother in real life?
Seriously?
Yeah, she played that. Mary Christian is Brian's sister. And also, fun fact, did you know that she's also his real sister? So the scene at the beginning where he gets dropped off for detention.
Yeah.
And his mom's giving him the business. This will be the first time and the last time That's a horrible Boston accent. I don't even know why I tried
That
to do that.
wasn't anywhere near.
No, I don't know what the heck that was. That
No.
was like, oof, that was
You need to work on that.
that was my
one.
Boston. That was my Timu Boston accent.
That's what it was.
Hell yeah. So anyway, that was his real mom and real sister that are in there, and also in 1985, no fucking seatbelt laws either, because like they're all three in the front seat, and like his sister's in the middle, giving Brian the business, and mom's like giving Brian the business. Brian's just trying to get the hell out of Dodge, just go to detention, get this shit over with. That's all he's trying to do.
Did you ever get chewed out like that in the front seat of your car?
No, because
you're like, I need to get out of this car.
I will tell you,
can.
This is still a sore subject, and you know this. I never got to sit in the front seat.
That is right.
Because in our family, it was girls in the front, boys in the back. That's the way it worked. That was my sister. I love you, Tammy, if you're listening to this. But that was what we had: a 1972 Buick LeSabre, buckets like bench seats. Yeah. Like not a seatbelt to be found. But it was a tank, and so there was no way. I mean, you're going to get thrown around a little bit if you get in a crash, but you're not going to go anywhere. So yeah, it was always girls in the front, boys in the back. So my mom, my sister, and my grandma would always sit in the front seat. And if my grandpa was with, it would be my grandpa, Chris, and I in the back. And let me tell you what, when you're dealing with three smokers inside a car, and from 1972, and there's no air conditioning, the windows don't roll down, like your hot box basically in a tobacco filter. Like, I don't know how I don't struggle with like lung disease or something right now based on all the secondhand smoke I had to consume as a child.
You and pretty much everybody else on the planet that's our age.
Welcome to the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. Where was I? Perry Crawford and Fran Gargano, respectively, as Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds, Allison parents. We would never see them. Like, they're in the front. Like, when she gets dropped off, when we watch the movie in a little bit here, when she gets dropped off, she's so looking for something from her parents, and her parents are just so absent in her life. Like, I just feel so bad for her. She like looks to say goodbye to them, and like they just speed off after just about taking out Bender at the beginning of the movie. And then John Hughes actually makes a cameo. At the end, he's Mr. Johnson. He's uncredited, but he's Brian's father. He picks him up after school. Oh. So there you go.
So does he do that in other movies of his too? Or
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
He decides to make little cameos.
Maybe, but that's not odd. Like several directors do that. According to Ringwald, John Cusack was going to play the part of Bender. And according to reports, he wasn't intimidating enough.
I can see that.
Right? Nick Cage was also considered but production could not afford him at the time. Remember, we're dealing on $1 million budget. What was Nick Cage looking for in 1985? What's a crazy number for Nicolas Cage in 85?
I don't know.
What had he done at that point?
So I'm trying to think.
I don't know. Interesting. Ringwald has said that Hughes approached her with another role in mind before the filming began, and she said, quote, originally had talked to me about playing Allison, but I wanted to play the other part, Claire, because I felt that was less like me. Emilio Estevez was originally cast to play Bender, but when no suitable actor could be found to play the jock, he was reassigned. See, that's where, like, could have you gone with like a Tom Cruise, even though Tom Cruise was staying far away from the Brat Pack? Could have you gone with a Charlie Sheen? Would have he played the jock? I don't know. It's just it's interesting how Emilio was set to play the part of Bender, but no one could be found to play the part. Okay. What'd you find?
Well, he had been in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh yes.
Valley Girl, Fish.
Easy now.
Racing Moon.
Never heard of that one.
And The Cotton Club, Birdie. That's the only ones that are listed right now.
So he had done a few. Yeah. So he was on the map.
A few, but not $1 million worth or whatever he would.
So it's like the studio couldn't afford him. I wonder what he was. I don't know. It's interesting. Now we get to a fun bit of info. If I told you before we got all this research that Rick Moranis was fired as a part of this movie, would have said?
That'd been great, actually.
You're not a Rick Moranis fan?
No, I think it would have been great.
Well, so fun fact, Rick Moranis was originally cast to play Carl the janitor. As the story goes, Moranis reportedly developed an over-the-top Russian accent for the role, which included gold teeth and a large set of keys, which did not align with the vision of the character. While Hughes hesitated to fire Moranis, producer Ned Tannen let him go because it conflicted with the dramatic tone of the film. Could you imagine?
It would have almost been more of like a Mel Brooks type thing, I think, walking in like that.
Yep, but keep in mind, this movie it runs about an hour 30. Mm-hmm. It's about an hour and a half, 90 minutes, 97 minutes, I think, is runtime. Initially, it was supposed to be 2.5, like 2.5 hours.
That's a hell of a lot longer.
They cut a ton out of this movie. We're going to get to that as we move along. But, like, if Moranis played a Russian janitor, I look for moose and squirrel. He's so over the top. I get casting him though, because at this point he's coming off of Ghostbusters. He's hot. He's
absolutely
white hot. So finding Moranis and actually having him in, doing the lines, running the part, and then you tell him, nope, sorry, we're going to go to different 9. Was that German?
Mm-hmm.
He'd be replaced by John Capellos. So let's talk about the spot, meaning where it took place, because this was a piece as our research team started feeding us information, which I love our research team. Shout out to our research team.
Amazing.
Our crack research staff.
Yes.
They do yeoman's-like work.
Hours and hours of work.
Yeoman's-like work. As we've mentioned a couple times, a $1 million budget, single location setup minimized the risk. He meaning John Hughes, pronouns pal. He intended Breakfast Club to be his directorial debut. We've hit on that. All right, so filming took place at the closed Maine North High School in Des Plaines, Illinois. Okay, let's stop a second.
Are you sure it's Des?
You asked me that the other day too. Yes, it is Des Plaines. Why is it Des Moines and not Des Moines?
Right.
And Des Plaines. I don't understand, like, English sometimes. No wonder people think English is so hard to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he would also use this spot for interior spaces or scenes for Ferris Bueller's Day Off. This was a fun fact. As the school's library was too small for filming, an enlarged replica was constructed inside the gymnasium. It is an impressive looking library.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It looks.
A local Chicago library loaned them 10,000 books. Loaned the studio 10,000 books to fill out the library, so it actually made it look like a library. A fun fact about the school itself: it opened in August 1970 and closed its doors in May 1981. So it was 11 years as a school. No. As student population declined, the story goes, the decision came down to closing Maine East or Maine North. Maine East, the oldest school in the district, opened in 1929, but also had considerable numbers of alumni and students with the SOS, also known as Save Our School, campaign, pushing to keep it open. On November 17th, 1980, the school board voted 4-3 to close Maine North by the following year, citing that it was not only the smallest school, but the least centrally located of all the schools in the district. In October, the board voted to close the school district in the 1980-1981 school year. The building was subsequently sold, along with the district's admin building, which had its offices relocated to Maine South High School. So there you go. After its closing, Maine North was basically used for film shooting for the 1985 movie The Breakfast Club, filmed in the spring of 84, started filming in March, and finished filming in May, because the actual library, again, was considered too small. Library scenes for the movie were shot in the school's gym. A plaque downstairs in the building commemorates the movie being shot there. So, building still stands today. I believe it is owned by the police department, I believe. So I'm going to take you to a New York Post article, April 22nd of the year 2015. Title: First draft of the Breakfast Club script found in high school. It was kind of, I don't know why I'm not going to read it like that. It was kind of like finding the Dead Sea Scrolls of Generation X. A first draft of the script for the Breakfast Club was discovered this spring at the suburban Chicago high school where the movie was filmed, the Chicago Tribune reported. Staff at Maine Township High School, School District 207 in Park Ridge, Illinois, were packing up files for a move to a new building when someone found in a cabinet the script for the teen flick dated September 21st, 1983. The movie was filmed between March and May of 84 on a budget of $1 million and went on to gross more than 50 at the box office. On the cover of the early draft is what looks like a splotch of pizza grease, and the notation, quote, reviewed and approved by Dr. Murphy, end quote. John Murphy was the local superintendent who managed to score $48,000 in rental fees for the use of the site.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
good,
a lot
right?
of money back then,
$48,000. Yeah, I did not put that in the calculator to figure out what that'd be in 2025. The library, as seen in the film, was actually the gymnasium. We've hit all that. The film's early title, listen to this, the film's early title, according to correspondence between the school and Universal, was Saturday Breakfast Club. Though the script is labeled with the final title, and the Molly Ringwald character was named Kathy Douglas instead of Claire Standish. Writer-director John Hughes grew up in suburban Northbrook, Illinois, frequently filmed movies in Chicago. Maine North High School, which served as the Breakfast Club set, was shuttered in 1981. Blah, blah, we see all that. In the files, there was also a copy of a letter from a former purchasing coordinator for the school who told the film studio, quote, we close with nothing but the fondest thoughts and memories of Universal Studios and the Breakfast Club. We trust this film would be a huge success, end quote. Could you imagine finding that piece of history?
No.
Fascinating. It was the 13th highest gross from film in 1985, grossed nearly over $50 million domestically on a $1 million budget. And we've set the stage. All right. Are you ready to relive The Breakfast Club? And then on the back side of watching the movie, we will come back and recap and rehash and talk about all of the things.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go back to 1985. We will talk to you all on the backside of us watching this fine movie called The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club. And just like that, it's like magic.
It is totally like magic.
We're back from 1985.
Mm-hmm.
I felt kind of myself personally like I was sitting in detention with them. That'd have been a first for me, though. I never had detention.
No need to brag.
Did you ever have detention?
We really don't need to talk about me right now.
I think we should.
I really don't think so.
So if the story, if I remember right, just get pet banned or something and then get detention? Is that how it works?
So stupid. Yeah, because I was at the game and I didn't play. Like I caught.
Yeah.
So dumb.
I just don't feel like...
I feel like there was more than one time, though, that I had to serve detention. But...
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh?
I feel like I don't even know you. You troublemaker, you.
Yes. Hellion.
Yes, definite hellion there. Okay. What stuck out to you in watching The Breakfast Club again? Double-digit times now for me. What stuck out for you?
It's the same as always. It just kind of brings you back to that time when we were that age, right?
Yeah. I think there are definite things that it's a different world in 2025. So 40 years later, it's definitely a different time. But you can still go back and you can have those feelings that they had. Mm-hmm. Is there a character that kind of resonates with you?
No, not really.
It's kind of a combo platter for me, too.
Yeah. There's not one specific one at
definitely
all.
Never the jock. Played sports, but like just, hi, I'm happy to be on the team.
Yeah.
Was never Bender's character for sure, but had a little bit of that. I was never a brainiac, so I prayed for D's.
That would have been nice to know when I was trying to cheat off your papers in high school.
You run the risk, and yeah, you're welcome. Definitely Anthony Michael Hall's character, though, in more so in 16 Candles than this, but just the mischievous for sure.
Oh, his character in 16 Candles is
that's
you.
1 billion% me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm a little Claire too. And don't we all have a little bit of Claire in us? Like the princess that
you are totally, yes.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Actually, Claire is probably closest to you.
Put on my tiara. You're not wrong, actually. What?
Nope.
All right, let's talk about the song.
Okay.
Here's what you need to know about the soundtrack. There are 10 songs in the soundtrack, but the song opens and closes the movie. It is Don't You Forget About Me by Simple Minds. Now, the song was written for the movie by Steve Schiff and Keith Forsey, not the band itself. It was Simple Minds' biggest American hit, reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in May of 1985. It was released February 20th of 85 in the United States. Here's where it gets very, very interesting. Again, our research department, bang up job this week.
They kicked ass.
They did. They kicked more than one ass. They might have. You might even say they kicked asses. The song was rejected by Brian Ferry, one of David Bowie's songwriters, whom Bowie describes as one of the best lyricists in British music. He was working on his own album at the time, which is why he said, "No can do." So you're gonna, like, the common theme to this whole thing is that you're gonna feel like, does anybody really want this song that everybody knows once they hear it? And no, it's not the Temu version that we had to play at the beginning of this podcast, but Billy Idol and the group Fix also said no. And really, it gets, the Pretenders, right? Mm-hmm. The group The Pretenders. Chrissy Hind is the lead singer. She would make a recommendation of Simple Man's frontman Jim Kerr, which happened to be her husband. And the Pretenders and Hind were approached to record the song, but declined, not because she didn't want to do it, but because she was pregnant at the time and couldn't do the video.
Makes sense.
Right. Because at this point, we're 85. We're into the MTV generation for sure. In 85, the year of the film's release, Simple Minds had been really successful in the United Kingdom, their homeland, even though, and even earned some popularity in Australia and Canada. Yeah, Canadians. But
You're still bitter about the smoke last summer.
Stop sending us your crap. But they were virtually unknown in the United States prior to this, despite having 6 albums into their career by the time this year started. So here's my question. They declined it at first because Forsey and went to them and said, hey, we've got this song we want you to do. They wanted to write it, and they're like, oh, no, we've already written it. It's already done. So they declined to record it as they felt it didn't suit them. Guitarist Charlie Burchill said, quote, we had delusions of being ultra hip, end quote. And then you record the song and it just takes off, right? They did finally accept the offer after several other acts also declined. In something called goldderby.com, in an article February 25th of 2025, Simple Minds, boy, am I struggling to read English today. Frontman Jim Kerr joked that he tried to turn it into an art house movie by writing a load of existentialism, rubbish lyrics to replace the la 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 refrain at the end of the movie. But he eventually scrapped that idea, and the famous hey, hey, hey intro was his ad lib as well. The fun fact about this is, like, that la 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 at the end, he hated the lyrics so bad, he figured he'd just fill it. And this is what he's talking about. He'd fill it and then come back later to write actual lyrics and put words in there. He never did. And they left it as is, which I think is great. And so it's fascinating. And so they had their members of their road crew come in who didn't know anything about the backstory, and they went, oh, that sounds amazing. And so here we are. We're off and running. And Simple Minds would go on to have a number 1 hit in the United States.
They still play it all the time now.
They do. And every time you hear it, it takes you right back.
100%.
We will put which I think is great, we will put a link, or we'll embed the actual demo version, which is so 80s. When I played that for you, like
Very
the other day,
so. Yeah.
Oh my God, like oof. So over the top 80s. It's almost cringy. It is. Yeah, for sure. He was like that version of it so much, he actually uses it in the actual movie. At the beginning, after the credits, when the glass breaks, they kind of go into an instrumental. That is the actual demo version.
Okay.
So they play that for a good while until a little bit into the library scene, and then they're off and running too. So a David Bowie quote, which I love, opens the movie. Fun fact about this, we're going to get to in a minute. And quote, and these children that you spit on as they try to change their worlds are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. I love that quote.
Mm-hmm.
And fun fact, Ali Sheedy found that quote. And she would say in an interview, the David Bowie quote was mine. I found that David Bowie quote in the beginning of the movie and showed it to John, and he thought it was great, and then he never said a word about it.
Oh.
And she saw the opening of it, and it started with her quote.
So she didn't know anything about it.
She had no idea it was going to be in there. And she says in this article it was the best thing that happened in that movie. Like, that was her favorite moment. That was her favorite part of the movie, was that David Bowie quote that she found that she put in the movie. I thought that was really cool.
That is.
Then we get Glass Shatters, and we get our first look at Shermer High School on a Saturday, March 24th, 1984. YouTube sensation Tanya, do you know what is significant about that date, Saturday, March 24th, 1984?
I have no idea.
Well, it was the day shooting began on the film.
Oh.
So they use that date as the day they're in detention, but that's the first day they started shooting. They shot from Saturday, March 24th, 1984 until May. Okay. I am going to go a little bit down a rabbit hole here, thanks to our very crack team of.
They're very thorough.
There was not a rock that was not overturned. So there is graffiti in the beginning of the movie that says, "I don't like Mondays." And this is a true story. It is in the opening, and it is a reference to a 1979 school shooting. The reference is to the Cleveland Elementary School shooting in San Diego. 16-year-old, at that time, Brenda Spencer, fired upon an elementary school from her home, killing 2 adults, injuring 9 other people. When asked what her motive during a phone call with a reporter, she replied, "I don't like Mondays." And so, yes, that is the thrust of that quote in the movie.
Huh.
I know. It's dark.
Yeah.
We get our first glimpse of Carl Reed, the janitor. He is the man of the year, the display from 1969. And then we begin our drop-offs. And I don't know about you, like, how did you feel about the opening 2.5 minutes of, like, the scene? So everybody gets dropped off, and then they're inside the library. Kind of, what were your thoughts as you watched?
I don't know. It seemed some of those different ones kind of seem very familiar too. More so, like, I was getting told how dumb it was to have to be out in this kind of cold weather to drop me off at something for school.
Well,
it kind of brought back that for me.
It did. We learn a lot without a lot of dialogue about each of their individual characters.
Very much so.
So we start out with Claire.
Mm-hmm.
She gets dropped off in a BMW, which, fun fact, she dropped off by her father in a BMW. Fun fact is that is actually John Hughes's BMW.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a fun fact.
Mm-hmm.
And she basically was like, "I can't believe I have to do this." Her
Right.
dad's like, "Shouldn't have been skipping school to go shopping.
Here's a little package.
Here's a package for you. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Right.
You'll be okay." And then we see Anthony Michael Hall's character get dropped off by his actual mother and sister, and they're giving him the business. He wants no part of it.
Right.
Like, he's like, his mom's like, "Is this the first or the last time that this is going to happen?" And he's like, "Last." So he knows.
Yeah.
But, like, maybe don't bring a flare gun to school and have it go off in your locker.
Yeah. Easy fix. Just don't do it.
We'll get to that in one of the most impactful scenes towards the end of the movie, when they kind of are having fun with them, and he gets all serious about it, and then he cracks up too, because it is like, you have a flare gun that goes off at school. What are we doing now? The premise behind it a little bit more, because, like, he was suicide, like, he felt suicidal because he had, like, he wasn't going to get an A, right? So he's worried about his grades. So yeah, I when Allie gets dropped off. Well, next, first of all, let's go to Emilio, who gets dropped off next. God, you talk about a sports parent from hell. that would be his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is, he has nothing. He wants nothing to do.
It's a lot of pressure.
100%. So he's like, do you want to lose your scholarship? The whole bit. No university is going to take you because you're a failure and you get trouble all the time. So, So we get Andrew Clark's first back and forth with his dad, and then he gets out, kind of slams the door. He brings a hella lunch. That is about a big paper bag from your local grocery store, jam packed, because he is an athlete and that boy's got to eat. Then we see Ali Sheedy, his character Allison, get dropped off. Here's where I felt bad. First of all, as they're driving up, Bender just decides he's not going to get dropped off by anybody. He just walks. He's the only character that does not get dropped off, and he walks right in front of the car. Doesn't miss, doesn't blink, just
keeps going.
Yep, he just does. That's what Bender does. Allison gets dropped off next, and I don't know about you, like when she went to lean forward to say goodbye to her parents, because both parents were dropping her off and they just drove off. Yeah.
They didn't acknowledge her.
Talking about absent parenting. And so we get to know a little bit about what all these kids are going through and early on. And so we're off and running, and I've said that like 3 times now, so don't make sure I don't say that again. We're ready for detention.
Cotton balls to throw at you.
Good Lord, just make sure they're soft. Thank you. I appreciate
cotton
that.
balls, aren't they all soft?
Yes.
Okay.
So we've got the princess, the athlete, the basket case, the brain, and the criminal. They all begin their day of detention. And then we meet Mr. Vernon, Paul Gleason's character. Ty, he talked about his role in an on-set interview in 1984. Here's where this gets extremely weird. Quote, this is Gleason talking about his character on an on-set interview in 1984. Quote, for the most part, my character is a guy who antagonizes them and tries to intimidate them and tries to discipline them and does not try to understand them or rehabilitate them. He continues, all he's interested in doing, this particular character, is functioning on his own level while not letting these people interfere with what his priorities are, namely peeping on other teachers in a weight room and reading nude magazines. All right.
Ew.
Let's pump the brakes here and recap what he just said. We're about to go down a pretty big rabbit hole here. Remember when in the beginning we said that this movie was supposed to be like 2.5 hours long and they cut a bunch? Remember what John Hughes was prior to this. We're talking Animal House. We're talking Vacation.
Right.
We're talking all of these films that had gratuitous nudity. In 1984, Gleason talks about peeping at a teacher and reading nude mags. Nowhere in the final script or finished product are there either. The best we could find was like a Snap-on Tools calendar in his office. Like that was it. So then we enter Karen Lee Hopkins. His name ring a bell?
No.
Probably not. For me neither. This is from the Hollywood Reporter in March 25th of 2015. Quote, for an aspiring actress from Sandusky, Ohio, population 25,000, not sure why that means anything, but it's there, auditioning for and getting cast in the role of a fresh out of college gym teacher in John Hughes' The Breakfast Club was the big break I'd been hoping for. My character, who was at school for a Saturday practice, originally began as a swim instructor, but evolved into a gym teacher because I actively taught aerobics professionally at the time. John told me that my part was meant to bridge the gap between the students and the establishment. For my big scene, I deliver a speech in the library to 5 kids saying, this is just a small part of your total life history. What that meant was that even though everything feels intense in high school, that time ends and the real life begins. And the life I had dreamt of, feeling like it was just beginning. Well, sad panda, she would never deliver those lines. And after filming, received a call from casting director Jackie Birch, who told her that her services were no longer needed. Okay. So that's her version.
Okay.
That's Karen's version of being cast, of what John told her role was.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's find out a little more, shall we?
Yes.
She continues, it was a bit of a surprise when friends recently sent me articles from Vanity Fair, an excerpt from the new book, John Hughes, A Life in Film, and the New York Post, saying that my Breakfast Club character was merely there to provide a gratuitous nude scene where the kids sneak out and watch me showering through a peephole. What shower scene, she asks. I don't remember one in the script, and I never filmed one. John kept conveying that my part was meant to be the slightly older person who makes it safely to the other side of high school and shows it can be done. There was a provocative scene in the script where the principal was meant to watch me working out, but that scene didn't get shot. Well, I've been waiting for answers for years. As a writer, I understand rewrites. This version of events doesn't click. If the filmmakers had been searching for a buxom bombshell, they could have done better than me. And if all the other cast members felt like it was misogynistic, as a recent Vanity Fair article suggested, I never heard anything to that effect. It certainly didn't seem true to the character John created or conveyed to me, but that was the reason I could have handled it. Instead, I was like to speculate. The truth may hurt, but it's always better than not knowing. Wow. So, you've got a bunch of things that were cut.
Right.
You've got John Hughes saying, yep, I'm going to look through the which totally jives with what he had written in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Lot to unpack here. What I will say is let's harken back to Molly Ringwald in their 2018 essay in The New Yorker. Quote, in the shooting script of The Breakfast Club, there was a scene in which an attractive female gym teacher swam naked in the school swimming pool as Mr. Vernon, the teacher who was in charge of the students' detention, spied on her. The scene wasn't in the first draft I read, and I lobbied John to cut it. He did, although I'm sure the actress who had been cast the part still blames me for foiling her break. I think the film is better for it. Yes.
Very much so.
So many things to unpack. First, it feels like Hughes can't help himself, and he turns back into the vacation-esque thought process. Like we need boobies.
Right.
We need boobies. And we need a scene of gratuitous nudity. I love that Molly had the confidence and had a good enough relationship with Hughes that when she approached him about it, she got him to cut the scene. Kudos.
Oh, absolutely. Especially at her age.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Yeah, she's 16 at the time.
Yeah. So
she's 16 at the time, going to a director, producer, do everything that just has gotten a 3-film deal with Universal.
Right.
And she has a good enough relationship with him. We're going to talk about their relationship and his relationship with Anthony Michael Hall as well. Fascinating, though. I feel like there's probably a lot of truths to both sides here, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
It would not shock me at all if in one of the initial drafts or in John Hughes's brain, he's like, nope, we need to have this. I also do believe that when he kind of portrayed to Karen what the character was going to be, that would be what it is. And oh, by the way, you got to show your roots.
Right.
But that conversation doesn't sound like it ever happened.
Right.
We can't hear John's obvious take from it. So we'll never really know the truth. But in my brain, I'm like, there's probably a little bit of truth to both, actually. Yeah, I don't know. That's just one of the things of this movie that I'm just like, oh, geez. So you go about 18 different rabbit holes and try to navigate what's fact and what's fiction.
Oh, the poor research team that were down all of those different rabbit holes and finding more and more.
Just wait. It's
beginning.
Well, I don't know. We're kind of wrapping up, but
okay.
Molly Ringwald, in that 2018 piece in the New Yorker, talks about watching the iconic movie with her then 10-year-old daughter. I don't know if a 10-year-old should be watching this, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, let me read this, and I'm going to get you. I want your opinion on it. A, as a mom, but B, just feeling what she feels. She says, quote, how are we meant to feel about the art that we both love and oppose? What if we are in the unusual position of having helped create it? Erasing history is a dangerous road when it comes to art. Change is essential, but so too is remembering the past. in all of its transgressions and barbarism, so that we may properly gauge how far we've come and also how far we still need to go. So you can feel her, like there are a lot of pieces of this movie that would not fly in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
But they did in 85 because that's the world we lived in.
Right.
Her mom was super over the top protective in both the Breakfast Club and 16 Candles about not letting, because Molly's 16 at the time.
Right.
Like she's yeah. So like obviously the scene with Bender underneath the table,
Mm-hmm.
That's a stunt double. Like that's a double. That's
Mm-hmm.
not her, right? Because you're not going to have some 25-year-old sneaking a peek up someone's dress or skirt, right, when she's 16 years old. So definitely a stunt double there. And her mom, like I said, was just super protective of all of it. So yeah, I don't. Your kind of thoughts on, because you saw it. You said you thought you were in your teens, probably a little bit, 15, 16. My guess. I was probably 89 when I watched it, so I'd have been 16 too.
Yeah, and I might have even been a little bit older or younger. I wouldn't say, but I would have been a teenager. I wouldn't have been 10.
Yeah. No, I definitely was. There was no chance I would have gotten to watch a rated R movie. I was still watching Mary Poppins. You think I'm joking? I'm not.
I know you're not.
Okay, so a couple things in addition, just context-wise, before we kind of break down what we saw in our favorite parts in the movie and conformity and the whole thing. Molly continues to talk about in her Vanity Fair piece. I had, in her relationship with John Hughes, quote, I had what could be called a symbiotic relationship with John during the first two films. I've been called his muse, which I believe I was for a little while, but nothing more than that. I felt he listened to me, though certainly not all the time. Coming out of the National Lampoon School of Comedy, there was still this residue of crassness that clung, no matter how much I protested in shooting Script of the Breakfast Club. Again, then she goes into the scene that she basically talked to Dr. Hughes about and said, hey, this isn't going to fly. And again, I love that. I think, this and 16 Candles really kind of kicked off the Brat Pack too.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to go into that. There's a big article that was written about Emilio Estevez, or it was supposed to be, but then everybody else got involved too, and that's how the Brat Pack name came to be. Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall's relationship with John Hughes, it's interesting because I think out of the five, Hughes had the best relationship with those two.
Mm-hmm.
In 16 Candles, Anthony Michael Hall talks about in an interview where he was told by Hughes, when it comes to like his two cronies, his two little buddies that hang around,
right,
that you're going to cast them. So Hughes let Anthony Michael Hall roll through the auditions, and he got to cast who it was, which
John Cusack.
John Cusack, right? So like it's fascinating that he gives these two so much power, and they're still in their teens,
right?
And really at this point, like, had done a couple things, but nothing this scope. I mean, he basically did these movies back to back.
Mm-hmm.
So like to be able to lean on them, now that wasn't always the way that it would go. Molly Ringwald talked about how it would grow apart professionally when she chose not to make her fourth film in Some Kind of Wonderful in 1987. Look, at this point, she's trying to avoid typecasting. She just wants to go and do something different. In retrospect, she says she should have continued working with them. Some suggest Hughes took this personally as a personal hurt and stopped directing teen movies after this too. So really, it shifted a little bit for Hughes. I mean, he still did Home Alone later, which is a kid movie, but it's different. It's not the teen.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Nope. But I find it interesting, like we talked about earlier in the podcast, about how Hughes really had his hand, like his fingers on the pulse of where youth were at in the early 80s. And I just find it fascinating, right? This movie is a little bit of everything. So let's break down kind of our favorite scenes. Do you have one or two favorite scenes that hit you differently?
Not really. I always like the ending.
Yeah. when they're sharing with
Yeah.
each other, and it kind of it's always fascinating to me, that question that Brian talks about, what's going to happen on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And Claire is brutally honest. And she goes, "You're kidding yourself." Basically paraphrasing, "You're kidding yourself if you think anything's going to change."
Right.
I don't care how great Saturday was. Come Monday, there's no chance. I walk down the hall. Even
I'm going to even acknowledge you.
Right. And
Yeah.
she goes after Bender, right?
Right.
She's like, if your friends saw me walking down the hall with you, and then he gets all upset saying, "Don't you dare talk about what my friends would think or wouldn't think." I just, there are so many moments of vulnerability in this film. And I think because of how Judd was so method acting so hard during this whole film, there were a couple times where Molly's character, like Molly, wanted him fired. And they're basically like, "No, no, no, no." But like Judd is so in this character.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story about when he's going after the role, and he shows up dressed exactly like he does with what he's wearing on set, and he has to have security called on him before he even gets called in for the audition. So he's sitting there in this hotel and gets security called on him. And the security guard is coming off the elevator as his name is called and he goes into the audition. If it had been 2 minutes later, he'd gotten kicked out of the building. He wouldn't have had the role. So like there were times where he got after Claire / Molly constantly. Well, it was almost awkward for John Hughes too, and he's like, "Hey, what are we doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody's like, "Nope, just let it go," because he's just playing this. It gets kind of to how much everything's ad-libbed. That scene that you love, completely ad-libbed. There were no lines for that scene. All Hughes gave them was, understand why you're here and talk about it. That's it. There was no, like, there were no lines at all. It was like all ad-lib. And a lot of what Bender's character did all movie long was ad-lib too, which is like when he's up in the ceiling and he does the joke.
Yeah.
There's no, like,
there's
joke,
no punchline.
There's not a punchline. So I love it. It's fascinating. The MVP of this whole movie is the editor who had to put the thing together. And so it is just fascinating to me how it was just stuck and glued and put together, and it's a masterpiece, but there's so much ad-libbing that goes on, which I really love. All right. In your opinion, in 2025, does this movie hold up?
Yes and no. It's like you said, there's no way you can make a movie like this. However, those same students exist today.
100%.
So the situations are maybe a little bit different and things have changed some, but we're all the same. We're all the same as teenagers.
Is there anybody that we went to high school with that actually you feel like are those? Because there is for me.
Yeah, I could probably pick out a few people. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Fascinating. I will say yes, it holds up. I think the inner dynamic of the five. I love in that first scene when they first come in, like Andrew looks at Claire and automatically sits down next to her, even though they didn't know each other. Like Bender comes in, kicks Brian out of his seat, and then uses two chairs. I also think one of my favorite, to kind of just get back to a scene that I really like, the interaction between Vernon and Bender when he's like, "Do you want another one?"
Right.
Yeah. Are you done? No. Yeah. That's another one.
It just keeps going.
I think because of, what do you think about this thought process, right? So Bender obviously comes from an abusive home. So is Saturday detention his safe space?
It might be.
And so he's trying to say, look, I got no place else that I'll come here and I'll at least be safe.
Right.
Which is why I think when Vernon kind of goes after him in the one scene when he puts him in the closet, like Bender's kind of shook a little bit. He's kind of like, because he's not like, this is the spot where he's not used to being attacked, abused, all the things, right? So
Right,
he comes
right.
to school and it's a safe space. So complex character, so well done by Judd Nelson. I can't imagine anybody else doing it.
No, all the characters really.
For sure. All right. Was there any other scene that you can think of that stuck out to you?
No.
I think like the beginning when we're first getting to know all of them too. It's so well done. Like Hughes writes this, right? Where like the first 2.5 minutes of this movie, you know every single character. We're introduced to every character.
We are.
And that's rare in a movie, right?
True. Usually it's a slow going process.
100% it's a slow burn and we learn somebody and then there's
Yeah.
another one and then there's somebody else that pops in. But these 5, they're all there and then here's VP sticking his nose in.
Mm-hmm.
Dirty old vice principal.
Ugh.
Peepholing FIAD teachers.
Nasty.
Right. All right. Closing thoughts. In your opinion, what happens on Monday?
They all go right back to where they were before.
Yeah. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Allison's makeover.
At the end, yeah.
That was the one thing in this movie that I'm like, I loved her character so much. The fact that we were 33 minutes into that movie before she says her first line.
Yeah.
And it's vodka. And she's with Andrew and he looks at her and he goes, what do you mean? Like when you drink it, whenever. I don't know. Did we really need that? Like, does it show that she conforms? Does it show that she needs to, in order to be
to fit in?
Yes. And she didn't have to.
Right.
But yet she did.
I think a lot of people do.
I would agree with that. I think a lot of people do also. So you're saying everybody goes back to normal on Monday?
I think so.
I don't know if everybody goes back to normal on Monday.
No?
No. I think there are certain characters. I think some of them would. I think Andrew goes right back to being a wrestler, a jock. He's just like, boop, 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 boop. I like that to the little back and forth when they were asking, you wear tights?
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't wear tights.
I wear the uniform.
I wear the uniform. And he probably goes, so tights. So great. And then, obviously Bender's line of the movie, which has been said to me a bunch. Does Barry Manilow know you're rated as wardrobe? I think that is fantastic.
And the best part is several times you're like,
What? Yeah. All right. Closing thoughts. Here we go. Give me your 10,000 foot view of this movie.
Honey, I got nothing.
Not even a 10,000 foot view?
No.
All right. Well, I think we gave him a lot of things to think about.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of my favorite movies. It's in my top 5.
Is it really?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I just think it is a movie that you can watch because we grew up in the 80s, right? So
right.
All of these things were how things were.
Yeah.
Very much how things were in 1985 or 1984 when they were shooting.
Mm-hmm.
The one I do want to mention too. I do not have this in our notes, and I actually found this in the 40th reunion that they just had back in February when all 5 cast members were there. Molly talks about that John would take them out after shooting in Chicago, and she said that's where we met Prince. And what do I have in my notes? I want to say a Little Richard, but I don't think that's right.
No, was it James Brown?
James Brown. Thank you. So here's what, in researching Prince in 1984, because again, this would be filmed in 84. So between March and May, Prince was never there in Chicago during those times. Now, what we know Prince to be prior to his passing was that he'd do pop-up shows. Like he'd just show up at 2 a.m. and start jamming. That was really later on. He didn't really do that as much around the Purple Rain era, which is where we're in. That's not to say he couldn't have been in Chicago and kind of just practicing warming up. There was a James Brown concert on February 24th, 1984 in Chicago, which could play because they started they started rehearsals for the movie 4 weeks prior to actual start date. So that would take us to the end of February, beginning of March. Completely palatable that they did go to a James Brown show. But again, nothing on Prince at all. So yeah, and then one final little note. We talked about the relationship that Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall had with John Hughes. They did not speak for years. John did not speak to Molly after she turned Pretty in Pink down.
No.
Some kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
And so Molly wrote him a letter 20 years later as kind of an olive branch, thanking him, taking ownership, wishing she would have done something different. And then John sent her, according to Molly, the world's largest bouquet of flowers, took up a whole room. So even though they didn't talk, felt like the ice was melted and felt like, hey, we're forgiven and moving on. Same thing kind of with Anthony Michael Hall.
I was going to ask that. Was there ever anything there?
Yeah. So Anthony Michael Hall, after he did, he was Hughes wanted him to play Ferris Bueller in 1986. And Anthony basically said, I can't because of scheduling conflicts. Do you know what Anthony Michael Hall was doing in 1986? You do.
I do.
You do.
He was on SNL.
He was a full-time cast member, and at that point, the youngest cast member ever on Saturday Night Live. That'd be Lorne Michaels' first year back in 86 after taking a hiatus. So, again, Hughes took it personally. Like, here's a kid who is like, okay, so I've just had the string of success, and now I want to do something different. And he was only on SNL for a year. So even he regrets, he talks about it in an interview where he says, yeah, I should have taken the movie. Should have kept riding that out, especially with how big Ferris Bueller was. And we'll watch it. We'll break down Ferris Bueller down the road too. But Anthony Michael Hall very much wishes he would have. And I couldn't find anything where those two, Anthony Michael Hall and John Hughes, had a conversation about anything after that. So very distant once that happened. So kind of proves that John doesn't take rejection real well.
No, it sounds like it.
Especially with his favorite pupils, I would imagine. So just a couple more interesting tidbits of information that you can take with you along your way. Again, for me, it's a top 5 movie for me all time. I love it. I could watch it. We might watch it again now.
Already?
Maybe not. All right, what do you think? We wrap up?
I think so.
Hit the Temu version of the song. All right. Back in the day, travel back to 1985. We watched The Breakfast Club. We talked about it. Yeah. I have to pick another movie now, or maybe some music. We'll see.
Or another travel.
All right. Well,
we have options.
We have plenty of options. I guess we send cheers to the adventure, right?
I think so.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers to you. All right. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you may be. And don't forget, give us a like on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know whenever we put new content up. We're trying to roll stuff out all the time. Subscribe to our social channels. Facebook. TikTok.
Instagram.
Instagram's got a lot of food pictures on it. Makes me hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So subscribe to all those things. And this podcast obviously found wherever you can find podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, the whole bit, and YouTube. Yeah. All right. That's it. That is our essential podcast of a quintessential coming of age movie, The Lunch Bunch.
I don't like that.
It's as bad as this song. Is it as bad as this song that we're listening to right now?
It's right there with it.
God.
Thank you. No.
You know what the Temu version of M&M's are, right?
W's.
The W's. We'll get the Temu version of the song.
Yes.
All right. That's it. Nice job.
Yeah.
You are a YouTube superstar.
No.
Good night, everybody.